So Anam aloha, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. If you could put down your name and your type, if you know your type, and if you don't, just go to the information box and you can get your free chart. And also you can include your zodiac too, if you know it, your sun sign and your rising and moon. Okay, and let me just bring up my comments there. Great, everybody started to fill in. So happy lunar eclipse. And let me just pull up the chart for today. We're not quite into the reflectors yet. There we go. Okay. And let me just get the image set up so you can see it. There we go. There we go. And that doesn't have to be there. Perfect. Okay. So this is the chart at the exact time of the lunar eclipse on November 8th. That was today, so it was really early in the morning for me. And you can see this is a time of great change, this eclipse season. So we're going to really feel it. It ripples in the for the next 6 months. Okay, so we'll go into like the theme according to human design. Okay, so right away, what makes it an eclipse is because it's connected to the north node. So you can see the north node is in 2.1. The Earth position is 2.3, 2.1, and then the moon, the eclipse. And then down to Uranus to really, really fire it up. So we got that going on. And then we have Saturn is squaring the moon, Uranus, north node, right, in the 2. And Saturn is in the 13. So you probably have been feeling it, maybe getting some surprises. I had a little surprise on Friday. So I was already in the eclipse energy. Because remember, it's 3 days for every moon. Right, the full moon, new moon, we feel the energy 3 days before and 3 days after, but this is the eclipse, so it sets things in motion, right? So it's a lunar eclipse, so it's about letting go of something, right? So we're entering into this new portal, right? Into this new state of consciousness. We're not coming back, right? The people that think that things are going to return to normal pre-2020, it's like, no, we're in a whole completely different world now, you know? So in order to move through this portal, right, of this new state of consciousness, and I'm just using images because images help with the mind to understand, that I talk about this moving from the cross of planning into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which begins in 2027. We have to be self-sovereign. We have to be a self-sovereign human being. That means we have to be claiming our power back as an individual. And this is our authenticity, our uniqueness. This is what we can depend on, rely on. And the cross of planning, 1615 to 2027, was all about giving your authority and your power over to an external, right? Something, an expert on the external. And that's not going to work anymore, and it's going to backfire in your face if you keep giving your power over to an external authority. Okay, so it doesn't mean you don't listen. You know, I've got my hands on my ears, and I'm just not going to listen to anybody. You listen, but you filter it through your own knowingness, your own authenticity, your own inner authority, right? That's the best way to operate and move through life right now. So we have to be individuated. And that means coming into our authentic self, right? And we all have to decondition because we've been programmed since we came out of the womb. We've moved into a programming field, a frequency, and that was all about pulling you away from your authentic self and putting you into groupthink, right? So that you're a good tribal member. This was the cross of planning. Right? And now it's the sleeping phoenix. So it's all about becoming your unique self and becoming, not speaking the truth, It's become, or living the truth even, it's about becoming the embodiment of truth, capital T truth, and it has to come, and it comes from your authenticity, right? You're vibrating truth, Satnam, and Kundalini Yoga meditation. So absolutely no codependency. So this is being ripped from us. The masks are being ripped away. We're seeing people in truth now, right? There's no more lies for the Aquarian age, right? In this new sleeping crosses, sleeping phoenix, right? The masks are coming off. No hiding, and no codependency now. So any codependent dynamics that we have are going to start to, it's just not going to work anymore, right? So we have to look to our higher self, our divine self, our God self, our eternal self as your ultimate authority, right? So it's about practicing living in this way. And so let's go to this 2, right? So things are going away. We're experiencing loss. And it's sad, and I'll talk about that with the tarot reading that I just did before I came on. That was reflecting that back, right? Loss means, it's like we're climbing the mountain. That's the visual I have. We're climbing this mountain and in consciousness. And some are not able to go along, right? Maybe we've been piggybacking people, climbing up that mountain. Maybe we've been piggybacking a couple people on that mountain, right? And doing their work for them. And it's too much now. It's rarefied air, right? In terms of consciousness. And it doesn't serve them or you, right? And now it's about letting them go. This is the shadow of codependency, and letting them stand up on their own 2 feet and see if they'll continue on, right? But we can't be carrying people anymore, trying to rescue and save people. That's codependency. That's tribal consciousness. It's not going to work anymore. You know, the best thing that you can do for somebody is to be self-empowered yourself and be a role model for that person. Be the lighthouse, right? Just spread your light and let them follow or not, right? As an example, but carrying people is not, it's not the way, right? You're not going to make it. You're going to fall with that person as you climb the mountain. So we've got the 2. So let's talk about this 2, right? So every gate, you can see right here, right? Every gate, the 2, this is coming off the self. That's this center shape right here is this center for self, the self, capital S self, and the direction, love and direction. So the 2 is really, really important, this one. And it's every gate has a shadow, a gift, and a city, right? So the shadow is lost or dislocation. You can call it too. Feeling lost, that's the shadow. The gift is orientation, and the city is unity. So we got a lot of energy here, right? We got the moon, the full moon, lunar eclipse, boom. Uranus, boom, North Node, that's our destiny, is all in the 2, right? So the 2 is all about getting you on your destiny path. So if you've studied human design, this is a metaphor that's been used a lot, right? The limo. So we got the limo, that's your form, your physical body, right? Your energy body, I would include too, your form. And then you've got the passenger. This is the observer. That's the awareness that's observing and watching life, the observer. And then we've got the magnetic monopole. That's the 2. That's the 2. And that's the driver. So the passenger's back, right? They don't have the wheel, right? They don't have the steering wheel. They don't have the brake pad and the accelerator. They don't have access to that, right? This is already inside you, this magnetic monopole. So that's the driver, this 2. So what we're coming into is, right, is sitting back and observing. It doesn't mean you're not participating in life, but you're not trying to make things happen on the external and trying to control the external and think that you're doing anything. It's like a little kid, you know, when they've got a pretend wheel, or even driver training, you know, the trainer actually has the wheel, right? And then there's another wheel, maybe a kid wheel, that, oh, the kid can pretend that he's steering. That's like us if we had it's like the passenger thinking that they're doing anything, right? This awareness isn't doing anything. This magnetic monopole is doing everything, right? The driver. And this is what knows where we're supposed to go, who we're supposed to meet, all of those things. It's synchronicity, right? This rule is synchronicity. So this is the magnetic monopole. So this keeps us in the illusion of separation in the Maya, right? Is this too, right? So look what's activating it, right? All of this is activating all of this energy. And Saturn, yes, is a big player, but there's a lot of muscle here, right? This is like Saturn shows up, who's like a big bully, right? This limitation and restrictions. It's Capricorn, it's little g. Saturn rules all that stuff. Squaring these big kahunas, Uranus, Moon, and North Node, right? So it's not just one person showing up to fight. It's like they've got the big entourage here against Saturn, squaring Saturn. So for individually, for you, this means that this is the time that you're coming onto your destiny path. So any kind of upheavals, because Uranus is the great awakener and it can create shocks and upheaval in your life, it's just bringing you to the truth, right? To the truth. So what did I want to say about this with the two? So let's go into the shadow. So worm tongue represents the not self and the ego in my world. Again, it's just creating a form so the mind can understand, right, what's happening. So this is the voice in your head that you believe is you. It's been in there since you were a child. Sounds like you, right? Most people are merged with their ego. They're just channeling the ego, basically, right? So with this passenger observer, when you're in this state of awareness, right, like right here, there's the ego. You can see the ego down there. You're in this expanded state of awareness. You're able to hear. You form a relationship with your mind. This is why meditation is so important. Kundalini yoga and meditation, right? It's the yoga of awareness. It brings you into this state. It's a technology to bring you into this state so that you can see, oh, that's my ego. That's not me. That's my ego, right? So this is how you know you're in the second shadow, right? Is I have no direction connection, right? You have no, the ego will tell you this, like that's all woo-woo, right? This higher cosmic forces in these higher realms, like that's not real. What's real is what I tell you it's real. The ego will tell you what's real, right? The five senses, right? This body, mind, that's the only thing that's real. There's nothing else that's real. And that's not true. That's not reality, right? And that ego will say there's nothing to support you through life's challenges, right? There's no higher realm to support you in life's challenges. It's just the material, right? It's just the material. We'll tell you that you're lost, right? That you're lost. You're not in the right job. You're not in the right relationship. You're not in the right place of living. There's something wrong. Again, it's keeping you focused on the external. Or you need to be super controlling, right, of your environment. That's also a symptom of this shadow. That you're going down the wrong path. And we can expand this into humanity. Humanity's going down the wrong, we're moving in the wrong direction, right? We're going down the wrong path. We're moving into destruction. That's the shadow of two, right? Or you need to make your decisions from fear, right? And that pulls you into an interference frequency, right? So this means that you can't hear your higher self. You can't hear your intuition. You become disconnected from these higher cosmic forces, right? It's not like we're disconnected, right? It's not like we're ever disconnected from the divine, ever, but we can think that we are. We can believe that we are. And then the ego shadow will say that you can only change your reality through doing, right? Doing. And this is the death of the doer is happening for the Aquarian age, right? It's about coming into being. This is the eternal self, the eternal being, your God self is being. It's a being, not a doing. So, and then you see yourself separate from creation, from nature. Separation is a big thing. So the big fears here, I'm going down the wrong path. I'm going, making a bad direction. That humanity is destroying itself. That's the big fear. And your shadow feels victimized by your external circumstances, right? So you're given you're the power. The truth is you're the power. All the power is inside you, but then you're given it all, like the creation, right? The creation is outside of you, and you're giving all the power over to the creation, not to the creator. You're not going to the source, right? The source is inside you. So, when you move into the gift, because this is the gift, so all you do is just feel this. This is what I keep telling people, is to feel. I like to bop around some popular blogs, especially spiritual blogs. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And this is again why you have to filter through things through your own knowingness. And one of the messages was you can't trust your feelings, right? You can only trust facts and logic, right? And you can't trust your feelings. And that is not true, because this is what gets conditioned. Conditioned, influenced is this mind. That's green center there. That's the personal mind, the ajna, but it's our own personal psychological mind. And so again, we're evolving from a physical awareness, right? This splenic awareness system here. This is how we experience life. We've moved past that, and then we've moved into a mental awareness system. That's where we are now. But we've come to the pinnacle of this, and this is what 2027 is bringing in. So we're evolving from this mental awareness system into an emotional awareness system, right? And this is what's going to mutate. This is the solar plexus here, this emotional awareness. So experiencing life through our emotions, our emotional state. And this mutates in the solar plexus mutation, and that moves into the spirit, that mutates into a spirit awareness, right? So this is experiencing unity consciousness, experiencing ourselves as all one human organism. This is the self-sensory system, right? So this is what we're in now, and this is the only way through evolution, is to move through this emotional body. So yes, emotionality, I don't think I have that big, no, I don't have that big picture. Emotionality, like I talked about before, right? Like staying angry and reacting to people, that isn't what I'm talking about, right? This is completely different, the depth of your feelings, and that's the key word, is depth. Emotionality is when you stay on the surface of things. And you always look to a little kid who's not allowed to feel their emotions completely. They can kind of get stuck in like a tantrum, and they just can't get out of it. They can't get out of it. That's emotionality. So it's the ego, right? So there it is, the emotionality comes up, you get triggered, and you're angry about something, or you're depressed about something, but you stay on the surface of it, and this is sticking with the ego, and you're attached to the story. This is why I'm angry, right? This is why I'm depressed. But you don't go to the deeper, which is like to feel it all the way through. That's the depth, right? And this is feelings. This is what the work that we have to do right now. So there's a difference, right? No, you can't trust your emotionality, right? If you're staying on the surface, but you can trust that that's the doorway in to a deeper level to fear, right? And then to grief, and then you're through. And then you're through to moving to the other side. And this is the expansion, right? This is spirit awareness. This allows room for the soul to really breathe and come in and incarnate into your physical form. So the gift here, right? So this is recognizing we're not lost, right? We're connected. All of us are connected as a humanity. Each one of we're collective, right? We're one. We're one human organism. But we don't know it. It's true. It's a truth. It's not going to change. It's like, oh, suddenly we weren't all one and now we're all one. No, we've always been all one. But we've been in this mental awareness system that can't see that, can't perceive that, it perceives separation, right? All it does is perceive that we're separate from one another. We're not all one. And so that's what has to shift, is this awareness. It's like, oh, we've always been all one, but now we're aware of it. We're aware of it now. We've come out of this Piscean trance, right? So the gifts here are orientation and unity. So you realize you were never lost, even when it seemed like you were lost. You know, I was in the wrong job. I was in the wrong relationship. No, it was all leading to your growth, right? All we can do is prolong it and postpone it and create suffering for ourselves, right? With our free will, you know? So orientation and unity. So this is the experience when you're in this gift of like, I'm not lost. I'm always connected to the divine. I'm always connected to my eternal self. God's on the inside. God's not on the outside. Then you start to experience, because your awareness expands, you start to experience synchronicity, right? Things start to flow, right? You think of someone and there they are, right? You want to, you need to manifest something that you need in your life. Suddenly it shows up. Opportunities start showing up everywhere and you start to see them. This is the numbers, you know, the 1111, 333. That's all the universe reflecting back to you, right? That you're in this state of this gift of orientation and unity. And this is when you're aligned with the wider rhythms of life. So it's expanding out of this separation, because this is the ego wants you in separation. There's you, there's them, they're enemies. Usually the ego only sees people as two things, right? They're either an obstacle or someone I can use to get to where I need to go, right? That's how the ego sees people and keeps you limited in your perception, right? This is expanding your perception beyond the ego. And then you have impeccable timing, attracting the right things to me at the right time. And maybe you've had this experience already, especially if you have the two yourself, right? That second gate. Oh, I needed this money for this. And it just came to me at the right time. Not by the mind's timeline, right? By divine timing. And then you experience your pineal gland turned on, so it's easy to reorient yourself. So the pineal is really about orienting us, right? And there's been such an attack on the pineal gland through fluoride in the water and GMOs and things like that to keep us cut off, right, from our power. So that's the gift. And what else was I going to say about this? Okay. Let's go to the reading. Let's go to the reading here before we go into the human design types. There we go. And then we'll see what some people have to say here. Oh, good. We got a good little crowd here. Satnam Love. Crazy feeling generator up in here. Manifester. Maybelline. R. Susan E. MG from MO. Satnam. Tammy. Satnam. 5-1 generator. Taurus Sun and Gemini Moon. And then Jen is Adora. Gemini is in Sun in the 12th. Manifesting generator. 6-3 manifesting generator. MG in Florida. Happy, love, peaceful. Good evening from Texas. 4-6 manifestor here. And then the 1-3 generator. And then Thomas, MG. Yeah. Thomas is saying that multiple transitions of home and work. It's dizzying. That's the eclipse season. Yeah. It's very disorienting. Shaima Fared, Satnam Michael, and all present manifestor desperately needs guidance. Desperately needs all the guidance offered. Yeah. Emotional manifestor, Monica. And Lisa, 5-2 projector. Projectors are showing up. And then Adi Shakti, generator. Jeanette, lunar eclipse rising. MG, Larissa, Satnam Larissa, emotional projector. SSMD, manifesting generator. C.A. Patterson, she's a manifestor, I know that. Shai K, projector. And says, Shai Cave says, today's eclipse is exactly conjunct my north node in the 7th house. Yeah. Yeah. Mine's opposing my Neptune. Prem from Brazil, manifesting generator. Awesome. Luna Song. Yay, you made it. MG quad right for it. Oh, wow. Thank you, Michael. I got my reading from you back in July. My life is transformed and change is so beautiful. Yes. Happy, love, peaceful. Thank you for sharing the link. And 2-4 splenic projector. Yay. Jonica Johnson. Great. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense with the 2, with the second. The second gate. It's just very powerful that Uranus is on that and the eclipse. So it's showing us, too, that it's going to get the collective right side up, right? In terms of our trajectory as a humanity. So expect some surprises. And plus, it's election day in the USA as well, too, just to add more intensity to the collective energy. And remember, we're all connected. We can all feel it, right? We all feel this rippling of change. So it's best to just go with change. Don't fight it. And go right to, I always go to, like, this is for my highest good. Whatever is happening in my life. You know, if you get kicked out of a place of living, or you get fired from your job, or your relationship leaves, right? Or somebody that you trusted stabbed you in the back. It's like, oh, I just go to thank you. That's my mantra, is thank you for letting me see the truth. Because then it's real. You can do something about it, right? Okay, so this was the quick read that I did for us, for the fractal. And so the 4 of Cups is where we're at now. Okay. And this is FOMO, right? Fear of a missed opportunity. It's like feeling like you missed an opportunity, maybe in your life right now. You had expectations about something in your life, and then it didn't come through, right? Or you're hoping for something to happen and it didn't come through. So it can bring in pessimism, the 4 of Cups, right? This is a bit like the lost, the shadow of lost and dislocation, right? So it kind of make you pessimistic. I'm really feeling that this week myself, like a little bit more pessimistic than I usually am, you know, just with one thing after another seeming to go wrong, not working out. So we got that energy. And then what not to focus on is the 3 of Cups. And to me, this is about community. It's about friendship, right? So this may be looking to the people that you've been around. You know, maybe they have not been your soul allies. They've been more like karmic people, you know, karmic people that you've shared past lives with. You had heavy-duty karmic lessons to learn with these people. This could be like betrayal, too. It's saying not to look to your friends, You know, you're climbing the mountain. You need to understand why you're here on this planet, right? You're here to grow and evolve as a soul. And so this is, this could be a test, right, with the friendship or the community of people that you've been around with. And they're going to show their true colors. Like, don't worry about people. They can't hide anymore, right? They won't be able to hide their frequency. So it's saying not to don't be looking to your friends for your answers, you know, right now and moving forward. The ones that are truly your allies, you're going to know that. You're on the same page. They want you to grow and evolve. You want them to grow and evolve. You're not friends of habits, you know, you're friends of consciousness. Most people on this planet are friends of habits. And then the spiritual advice is great card, the major arcana, that's the Wheel of Fortune. So this is new cycles, right? So we're coming out of a karmic cycle, a major karmic cycle this year for you as an individual and us as a collective. So this is destiny. So this totally fits with the chart too, with the human design chart, that we're moving forward into this new cycle, like this new human experience. It's a turning point. It's destiny. And Wheel of Fortune is like, it's just happening whether you like it or not. But Wheel of Fortune is always taking you somewhere better, right? That's better for you. So that's good. And remember, not everybody's going to be coming along with the ride. You might be shocked with some people. It's like, I never, ever thought in a million years that they were like this. Right? This betrayal and lying behind my back, right? That, oh, this is who they really are. It can be a shock, right, for people. But just you're just moving forward. You're keeping moving forward. And some are not going to be along the ride. They're going to be shot off somewhere else for their soul's journey. You know, that's perfect for them. And then on the bottom is the High Priestess. And this is such the two of unity. This is listening to your intuition and your own inner guidance. So you see, don't be looking outside of yourself to these friends. Because I suspect some of these friends in your life do not have your best interest in mind, right? So this is trusting yourself, your higher self. Above all else is trusting your intuition. Right? And it's going into your own inner guidance. Because usually if we go to friends that are not on the path, right? They're not doing the inner work and we're asking them for advice, we're going to get some bad advice. We're going to get projection, their fears and their shadow projected onto you, right? It's too confusing right now. You have to go inside. And remember with this evolutionary process that we're moving through, it's really about the trust, right? The trust, no codependency. We have to trust ourselves. We have to be a self-sovereign human being. And so you need to have that practice to start practicing that now, right? 2027 is coming soon, right? This new global frequency that's going to be on the planet. And so trusting yourself, right? High Priestess. Training yourself. Maybe you're somebody that's got to call 5 of your friends up first before you make any decisions. It's like, no, I'm going to listen to Michael and I'm going to go inside. I'm going to find my own answers first, right? And do it that way. Just to train yourself. And then the overall energy here is the Three of Swords. So there we have an echo, right? The 3-3. And this is the mind in the cups. So this could be like the overall energy here is heartbreak, emotional pain, grief, separation. So you're leaving things behind. Maybe you've already done this work, but just allow that, right? Just allow that process, because that's the grief and that's letting go of the emotional attachment to these people. Three of Cups, community, friendship, right? That you've been in is just to feel the grief, and that's doing this work, right? The emotional body, this is grief, right? Feeling that anger. Maybe I'm so angry I got betrayed and that person was gossiping about me for years and didn't have my best interest in mind, pretended that they were my friend, right? Okay, I feel the anger, I'm angry, but go deeper, right? And then you go to the grief, right? The fear, will I make that mistake again? Because that's the two. I made a mistake. It's fear of making a mistake. Will I make a mistake? I don't have a good judge of character. I can't believe how I was fooled by that person. Just feel the feelings, right? And then to the grief, because that's the real work. It's like I'm hurt, right? And I'm hurt. And remember, the hurt is coming from this 0 to 7-year-old, right? That's the emotional body. It's developed from 0 to 7 when your heart was broken during that time. It's just an echo of that. Okay. And then, and then the ego card, of course. The challenge, which is addiction. I thought that was really interesting. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune, right? That's moving us forward. Moving us forward. The Wheel of Fortune. And then the addiction is kind of like, I want to regress back. It's like the wheel. It comes from the gate of the return. You can see it up there. The 24 comes off the mind there. That's the shadow of addiction, human design. So this is trying to go back, right? Regressing. And addiction's all about not wanting the feel, right? Not wanting to feel that 3 of Swords and the heartbreak. And it's looking outside. It's listening to that ego, actually, right? The ego is telling you you need something outside of you, right? So addiction can be alcohol, pills, drugs, right? All that stuff. But it can also be, Netflix. It can be people, too. You can be addicted to people. If you're really chasing a feeling, it's like, I don't want to feel this heartbreak, so I'm going to run after a feeling. That's what an addiction is. I'm running after a feeling. I don't want to feel this, right? This pain. So I'm going to try to numb it and sedate it, right? I'm trying to control it. And it's looking outside of yourself for fulfillment, right? And it keeps you isolated. Keeps you in that second shadow, actually, right? Feeling like you're isolated from others. That you're separate from others. That's what addictions do, right? And it's all about avoiding that broken heart. Okay, so you got to watch this. And then you got your 3 of Cups, right? Maybe you got some friends that they're friends of addictions. We like to indulge in addictions together, Or I'm addicted to gossiping and talking about other people and judging other people. You'll know, right? This lunar eclipse will show you where your addictions are. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you don't enjoy things outside of yourself. It's just about checking in with what's my consciousness right now. Am I trying to escape? Am I hiding? And the big hiding is hiding from my soul purpose. I'm hiding from my destiny. And it's just not going to work anymore either with the age of Aquarius. It's the age of truth. So these addictions will stop working, right? The chasing, you won't be able to avoid your feelings and your emotions anymore. Okay. So we'll refer back to that reading, but let's go right to the 1551 in the mirror. Yeah. So that's your job right now, right? With this lunar eclipse is the feelings, because it's very emotional, is to let them come up, because Uranus is the liberator. Saturn wants to repress, right? And it's in the shadow of discord. This is about listening, not listening, right? Not listening. Not listening to the past, not learning from your past mistakes, right? Squaring this that wants to be liberated. So this is a really opportune time. If you've been battling maybe with addictions, right? Whatever your addiction is, you just seem to keep coming. It's the gate of return. It's the mind. It's the mind wanting to go back over and over and over. Well, you're going to be liberated. You're going to get into that gap, right? I call it getting into the gap. And then you're going to be able to, like, time stand still. And it's like, oh, I really have a choice with this addiction. right now? And what choice am I going to make? Right? Am I going to go with this Wheel of Fortune forward on my destiny, or am I going to try to go back? Right? Into return and return to the old. Okay. So let's go to the, okay. Let's go. Oh, that's interesting, eh? I'm just reading your the comments. Oh. Yeah, and raccoons, they symbolize reputation. Raccoon. Yeah. That's more death. Whenever I go through big changes, I always see like dead birds and dead cats. Yeah. Just means change. Okay. Okay. Let's stay focused here, Michael. Just the animals. Okay. What are we going to start with? The generators. The generators. So there's the aura types. So if you don't know your type, right, go and get your free chart and learn about your type. And so the generators have the open and enveloping aura. So 70% of the world are generators, and that includes manifesting generators and generators. But I separate the readings, so I'll do one for the MGs and one for the generators. So feeling lost, I mean, for generators, that's a big illusion right there, because their aura, as the generator aura, is bringing everything to them so that they can respond. Right? That's your big word, is respond from your navel. So it's a yes or no. You'll just feel it. So it's really getting in tune with your navel. And yogically speaking, a good thing for you to practice is, if you're familiar with Kundalini Yoga meditation, is anything that strengthens your third chakra, like that navel area, to really awaken that generator motor, is Nabi Kriya. We were doing that in the Phoenix program last week. Very powerful Kriya for the generators and the manifesting generators. So all you have to do is respond with the yes or the no. So you can't be lost because everything's coming to you, right? So you're not really lost. Okay. So let's see here. The generators. So generators, when they're operating correctly and not listening to their mind and their ego to make their decisions, they can feel fulfilled, especially in their work. Okay, that one jumped out. And let's see so you got the Tower card. This is the eclipse, right? The eclipse. If any card represents the eclipse, it's this Tower. So these are shocks, upheavals. It's divine intervention, right? So this is anything that you're attached to as a generator that's not correct for you is going to be loosened, right? Divine intervention is going to be, right? Let's see what the ego's got to say here. But it's all a good in the end, right? This is Uranus too. It's the power of Uranus to get you on your destiny path, generator. Divine intervention. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. We'll do some dice too for the generators. The 9th house in Taurus. Okay. So with the ego is telling you that it's hopeless. It's hopeless. And then you got the fishing for compliments ego card too. And the fishing for compliments is just the ego looking to bolster itself up. So this could be your attachments that are being dismantled for this lunar eclipse, right? In the Tower, and then giving up. So there's a sutra, there's 5 sutras for the Aquarian age, kind of 5 rules to live by during the Aquarian age so that you transition successfully. There's a way through every block, so not letting blocks stop you. And it's just going back to this, Saturn in the 13 is about not listening to yourself, not listening to your higher self, maybe not listening to your navel, right? Listening to your mind instead. And so this is to persevere, because the Tower is going to come in. This is support, right? This is support, this Moon Uranus North Node. It may not seem like support right now. Maybe it's something the ego doesn't want to move away, to let go of, but in the end, it's support. And sometimes we don't realize this until years and years down the road. Like, thank God that left me, right? That situation, that person, that job, right? Thank God that, but sometimes we don't have the gratitude, because this is this 4 of Cups too, right? Is this ingratitude. Can be ingratitude to what's going on in our life, not having gratitude, not seeing, right? Not seeing the blessing of it. So this is saying to persevere, right? To persevere, generators, and to know the difference between a block and meeting resistance. This is really important, because sometimes you're like, but I'm trying, but it's like banging my head against the wall. It's banging my head against the wall. Are you growing and learning through that experience? When you're banging, you're trying to do the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. That's when you're meeting resistance. Like the universe is showing you, like, no, there's no energy for you. And you're probably using your willpower, right? You're not responding when you're in that energy. And then meeting a block is, so meeting resistance and meeting a block is really, there's a way through every block. The block is your challenge, right? You're growing and you're learning through moving through a block. When you're meeting resistance, like the universe has just got the brick wall up, you're not growing and learning in that process. You're stuck in that addiction energy. I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. But when you're in a block, you can feel it, because you're growing, you're getting stronger, right? You're moving through it. It's your challenge. It's forcing me to grow. It's forcing me to evolve, whatever this block is, right? So not to give up. This is what this negative energy that's on the planet right now. It wants us in despair. It wants us hopeless. It wants to give up our power to the outside, right? That's the test that we're in right now. And then you got Taurus. This, you can't see that, but there's a little die here. It's got the Taurus symbol. So the North Node is in Taurus. So that's about being the bull. The bulls know. The Taurus knows. The Taurus knows about meeting a block, right? And facing that challenge. And then it's the 9th house, right? So it's about what I see is about shifting your perspective and your worldview, because that's the 9th house, on I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to face this challenge. I know this challenge is a gift, right? It's a gift. It's making me stronger. It's making me grow as a soul. And it's and I can do it, right? I can do it. It's the belief in yourself. So it's about believing yourself, your worldview, persisting, right? Persisting. And maybe you're not getting the kudos, right, for what you're doing. Maybe nobody knows what you're doing, what challenges you're facing, generators. Maybe they don't understand. They don't understand what you're going through. Don't be looking to other people, right? These Three of Cups, these are other people to validate you in this energy. Yeah. Yeah. What else? With the hopelessness. The thing is, too, when we're at our last, you see this in movies, reflected in movies, and the hero's journey. You know, when we're at that state, it's like, oh, I can't go on. I'm so exhausted. It's just like, this is useless. I'm going to walk away. That's when the miracle happens. That's what Course in Miracles talks about, right? You don't want to leave before the miracle happens. And the miracle's happening with this lunar eclipse, with the tower coming in, you know? And Taurus, just because you got the Taurus here, it's all about valuing yourself, generators, right? And valuing your energy and valuing that sacral, right? That's like, get back in, generator, get back in the passenger seat and observe and just respond to what this magnetic monopole is bringing to you. To not give up hope, you know? I always think of the little seed, right? That's just about to come out of the soil with the sprout, and what they must feel. I know they must feel, plants must feel like they're in the darkness, and they're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing, and they can't see the light, but they keep pushing, because that's what life is. Right? That life is that life force inside of us wants to grow and wants us to expand. You just keep trusting, right? And surrendering to life. Generators and manifesting generators both have to surrender to life. So it's about surrendering. That's what meeting a block is. It's surrendering. It's not like surrendering like God's gonna do all the work for me, but I'm just surrendering to this process. Completely surrendering. I'm not letting my ego and my mind banging my head against that brick wall over and over and over again, doing the same things over and over and over again, right? Move out of this. That's an addiction, right? Addicted to the same kinds of thinking, the same kinds of ways of doing things, like letting that go, right? For the generators. So believing in yourself, and it's about your self-talk too, right? Watch how you're talking to yourself. Yeah. Okay, that's what I got for the generators. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, look at your Jen Isidore Winter. Look at your addictions to escapism and fantasy. Because they talked about this during this time, because we're under such pressure, you know? It's called the gray period of the planet, because the frequency of the planet is shifting, or the frequency of our mind is shifting. We're not completely into the Aquarian age, but we're not completely out of the Piscean either, right? There can be this addiction to escapism and fantasy. Yeah. And that's just being lost. That's the shadow of lost. But lost in the mind, right? Lost in the mind, not in the reality, in the present moment. So it's a discipline to bring yourself back more and more into the present moment. And that's why navel work really, really helps, because it does bring you into the present moment, you know? Okay. Okay, let's go for manifesting generators. Yeah. surrendering for the first time ever. Yeah, and the ego will kick and scream. The ego does not want you surrendering to life because it loses control over you. Okay, the manifesting generators. So you've got the open and enveloping aura as well. So 35% of the world are manifesting generators. And the difference there is they're a hybrid of the generator and the manifester. So they've got that sacral defined too, right? That life force energy. But the MGs, they're not known for their patience, right? They've got a lot of energy, and they're raring to go. But again, they've got to respond, right, with the yes or no from their navel. What life is bringing them. So your biggest dilemma, manifesting generators, is patience, right? Patience with waiting for something to respond to. Because everybody wants the generator energy and the manifesting generator energy. Okay. Let's see what they got for the MG. With the shadow of lost and the gift of orientation and unity. So fear that you're in the wrong place, right? Fear that you made a mistake. Fear you're in the wrong relationship, the wrong life. This is the shadow frequency. And it can happen really quickly for you to orient yourself and the generators. It's just to respond with the yes or the no. Even responding with a no, when it's a powerfully coming from your navel, like no, this is not correct for me, can be very, that can be the gift, bring you into the gift of orientation. Because it's bringing you closer to your destiny path, right? Like a powerful no. Making room for something you can really say yes to. That's correct for you. And especially your work, same with manifesting generators, is work is so important to you, for you to be in the right work. To use that energy that's correct for you. Oh, we got another quick card. Okay. So you got the Eight of Wands. That's the second fastest card in the tarot deck. So wands is fire, the fire element. So manifesting generator. It's quick communication, it's change, it's movement. Right? That's so your card. But only after you pause, right? And make sure that it's coming from your navel, not your mind. And this is the fantasy, right, where we can get locked. The generators and manifesting generator, all the types really, can get locked into fantasy. They've been hijacked in a sense because they're in their mind, right? They're not in the present moment, which means they're not in their bodies. So of course you're not going to be connected to your navel. You're going to be making all your decisions from your head and your mind. And that's why there's all that propaganda that's out there in the world. Listen to your logic. Listen to the facts. Stay in your mind, because this is what can be conditioned, right? In our world, that's what's being conditioned is our minds. It's the mass formation hypnosis, right? This is psychosis. That's the mind. Keep people in their mind, and then they can be controlled. Keep people in their emotionality, then they can be controlled. But if you do the work, and feel all the way through to the anger, fear, grief, and go to the other side, you can't be controlled in that state of consciousness, because you're in truth, right? So you're going to see the truth. You're going to see what's not authentic, right? Because you're authentic. You're going to be able to discern it. Okay, so what's the ego saying to the manifesting generators? For this lunar eclipse. Let me see the dice too. Okay. In the third house. So this is all about your thinking. So for the manifesting generators, you got the Eight of Wands, which is all about communication, change, and then the ego card is I know it all, right? I know it all. My mind is full, right? This is the 13. Isn't that interesting? That's the 13 in Saturn. That's squaring, right? Uranus, the moon in the north node is in the 13. You can see the 13 is also in the south. And this is all about listening. So know it all. I got no room to listen because I'm too busy listening to my ego. That voice in my head that's telling me I know everything. I know it all. Oh, I did that. When somebody's giving you support, trying to offer you support. When you're in I know it all, you're not in your sacral manifesting generator. You're not in your power at all. You're in your head, and you're just listening to that ego in your head. That does not want you to be your authentic self. Doesn't want you in your power. Wants to pull you away, right? Into groupthink, right? Be like everybody else. Go along, we get along. This is the battle we're in right now. The individuality and your authenticity, right? In your power. Or am I going to follow the herd? That's getting lost. That's the shadow of lost manifesting generator when you're following the herd, right? When you're going into groupthink. Well, everybody else is doing this, so I better do it too. That's going to get into heaps of trouble for this new age that we're entering. This is also refusing to listen, right? So Saturn repressing, refusing to listen to your internal guidance. So that's your navel, like refusing to listen to your navel, refusing to listen to your intuition trying to come through. And you can't receive. The two is about feminine, our feminine nature, right? It's about receptivity. It's about listening, deep listening to the self, right? So this is the ego that wants to say, you know it all. As soon as you say that, you're in trouble, right? Because there's no possible way we can know everything. We're not God, right? We're not omniscient. We don't know everything. So, again, it's really easy for you generator types, right? It's drop out of the head into the navel, and communicate from that space. So also you got the third house, and then Aquarius. This is a little Aquarius gift here. So this is also about your thinking. I feel like that's the message here. This is keeping you lost, is the way that you're communicating, is you're not being receptive. So with all the types, out of all the 5 types, the generators are the ones that are most conditioned by this mind, right? This ego, non-self. You're the most conditioned. Your biggest battle is with the mind out of all the types. And so it's the third house, and that's how we think, right? That's how our thinking and our speaking and our communication needs to shift and change. So maybe saying that you need to listen more, right? Listen more, get more into your feminine, less into your masculine, right? And that's all about externalization, is the masculine energy. In Aquarius is detachment. So Aquarius in the third house would be detachment. That's what that energy is saying, is a detachment. And it's just like get into that sacral. Get into the sacral. And detach. There's a great mantra for the manifesting generators in all types. is don't bite the bait, right? Don't bite the bait, because people, you know, Mars retrograde and the 12 that I talked about in my last video in Gemini, right? Gemini rules the third house. Lots of arguments, right? You've got to agree with me, and argumentative, and this could really trigger a manifesting generator, because they're so high strung already, is to detach in your thinking. Get more into the present moment, right? Meditate before you make any decisions, you know. And what else was I going to say about that with the loss? So that's where you're lost, is you're lost in your head. That's what that's saying there. And also the third house rules like siblings and neighbors too. So be watching your communication with your siblings and your neighbors, or people around your that you see every day. That's the third house too. But it's really saying about the communication. It's to detach. Yeah. Not get fired up in your communication. Yeah. Anything else for the manifesting generators? It's amazing when you slow down. You know, when you take a little vacation from the mind and go be by a body of water, or just sit and breathe and meditate. Be alone by yourself without distractions. The wisdom that does come, right? When you're in that state. When you're in the mind, check in with your body. You're going to be like doing shallow breathing. You're going to be in the stress state. You're not in your power. And that's not the place to be communicating from, right? Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for the MGs. Oh, that's funny, Susan E. Susan E said, dreamt that you were breathing underwater. I had a dream like that a couple months ago. I don't know if I talked about it in the live stream. Yeah. I was deep under the ocean, and there was somebody with me. I don't know who it was, but they started freaking out, right? And they were panicky, wanted to swim to the surface, and she had passed out, and I knew that she wasn't breathing. And then I noticed myself, oh, I have to go save her, right? And in the dream, I realized, oh, I don't have, and then my mind was, well, I have to get her, and how am I going to pull her up and go to the surface, and I'll run out of air. And then I realized I was breathing. It's like, oh, I'm breathing just fine underwater and under this ocean, you know? Isn't that interesting you had that dream? Yeah. And also it was a message like, I can't be saving people, right? Because she could obviously breathe too underwater, but she was in her mind and panicky, you know? It's such a metaphor for this new way, right? Or a new way of being. Oh, look, we got a lot of people dreaming that they could breathe underwater. That's great. Okay. Okay. Yeah, just let go. Where you're attached. Where you're attached. And that's the thing, right? Wherever we form attachments, the universe is going to intervene with that tower, right? With that tower energy, and it will say, sorry, Charlie, you can't have this, and it's taken away from you, and it's to show you that you don't need it. Like, we have to let go of codependency. Like, every attachment, you have to go to every single attachment you have and to let go, let it go. And better to do it that way than have the person be pulled from your life or something like that, right? It's better to deal with detachment in an energetic way first. Okay. So let's go for the manifestors. And then we're looking at 9% of the world manifestors. They've got the closed and repelling aura, owning 90% of the world. So their strategy as a manifestor is to listen for divine guidance, share, inform, and then to initiate, and they make things happen. So you can see their aura is moving out. You see how the generators is open and enveloping? It's bringing things in. Their energy is moving things outward. They move energy. Okay. So feeling lost for a manifestor, what would that be like? Feeling lost for a manifestor. Not listening to their intuitive guidance, right? Their divine inspiration, listening to their mind and their ego instead. They'd feel lost. They can feel lost too, because we're really living in a generator world now. And at one point in our history, the manifestors were kind of the rulers of the world. And that's changing. I can definitely feel isolated and alone, manifestors, because they're, especially if they're not operating correctly and they're not informing, they're not sharing what's going on with them, they can feel isolated and alone. But they do it to themselves. They're not victims, right? Okay, let's see what we got for the manifestors. What did the manifestors need to see here? Oh, they got the Hermit card. The Hermit card, right there. So this is about going inward, right? And manifestors have to do that anyway. To listen. They've got to listen to their own inner truth, their own inner wisdom. It's a very spiritual card too, the Hermit. It's not looking outward, not looking outside of themselves. Let's see what the ego is telling the manifestors. Finding your own personal truth. Discovering that. So it's about spending time alone. Oh, goodness. And what do I got for the manifestors? Oh. Wow. Okay. The manifestors have a big lunar eclipse. They got spiritual ego, the spiritual ego card, and then the Hermit. And then they've got the Pisces here and the 12th house. And Pisces rules the 12th house, which is a very spiritual house. And it's also, our past lives. It's the 12th is the culmination of all the houses. And it's, it can go back to our past lives, our ancestors. It's a finishing up. And this is the thing. This is the tricky one, right? It's the spiritual ego, because this is when the ego, right? Worm tongue here, this ego that you believe is you, that's whispering in your ear. It's been with you since childhood, manifestors, right? This is when you believe. If we go down here to intuition, remember the high priestess represents intuition here. That's underneath this whole reading. You believe that that intuitive voice, that intuitive guidance that's coming to you is this. This is when the ego hijacks that, right? Hijacks that divine information that's coming to you in divine inspiration. And this is spiritual narcissism, right? The spiritual ego. So it's like the ego is pretending that it's your intuition, right? It can pretend. And if you don't know yourself, right, by going inside as the hermit, this is how you know yourself, how you can distinguish these two voices. There's the voice of the ego, right? And then there's the voice of your higher self. If you don't know yourself, right? Because manifestors can be very arrogant in a way that they don't really need anybody because they've got that closed and repelling aura, right? They don't have the same connection with as the other types would, like the projectors and the generators, even the reflectors, right? They can be very like I said, the boy or the girl in the bubble. I don't really need anybody, right? So they're not really open to others, you know. So it's serving the ego. So whatever that divine inspiration that's trying to come through to you, the ego switches it around, and it's all about serving itself, right? Divine inspiration is never about just serving you, right? We're one human organism that feeds into separation. It feeds into the ego manifestors. So that's how you know right away, right? Oh, this is just serving me personally, right? This voice is, or it's out of fear. It's got some kind of fear, and it's got this separation. It's about me separating from others. It's listening to stories that are coming from this ego, right? That's projecting, like projecting on other people. But anyway, it's about spiritual ego is about serving this ego, whatever the divine inspiration that's trying to come through. And it's over-intellectualizing. That's also what spiritual ego is. It's living in the mind, basically. It's not in your body. It's not in the present moment, you know? So this is saying to go inside, and it's the 12th house. So this is retreat. You need to retreat and be on your own, right? And go deeper than this ego, the spiritual ego. And the ego is going to show itself during this lunar eclipse because the ego is not authentic, right? The ego is not natural, you know? To us, it's good, that voice in the head is going to be more and more apparent. We're seeing the ego reflected on the external world, but we're going to be able to really start to see it in ourselves. Like we're really going to be able to discern that voice that's not us and then our true voice. Yeah. So this is the warning, right? Is this Hermit card, and then with the spiritual ego, and then Pisces in the 12th. And you've got to watch addictions too with Pisces in the 12th here. Addictions, right? That's the challenge for the manifestors. And it's also going into fantasy, right? Going into fantasy to watch that. Because this is a trap, right? These are ego trap cards to keep you in this spiritual narcissism. And as soon as you go into that state, I'm better than, right? I'm better than these other people. You're in spiritual ego. And it's seeking, the other telltale sign too of spiritual ego is you're seeking what you're seeking. You hear this about seeking. Oh, I'm seeking. Well, there's two kinds of students. That one is like, I'm seeking power. I just want power. I want power. I want control over other people, right? I want it my way. I want it the ego's way. And then there's the other student, which is I'm seeking love. I'm seeking love. I'm seeking to open up my heart not to give my mind and my ego more power, right? Because you don't think the ego wants more power, spiritual power. Yeah. So that's the lost, right? And the trap for you is you're going inside and you're listening. The trap for you is the spiritual ego, but that's your job, right? Nobody can get in that head with you. Nobody can do that battle for you, manifestor, except for you. So to listen to that. And the other telltale sign of the ego is the messages are very judgmental, and they're all about separation and their fear, right? And there's no accountability with the spiritual ego whatsoever. It's all them. The fingers pointing outward. It's all them. It's all them. Yeah. Because this is what's keeping you from initiating, right? Or you're initiating the wrong things that are keeping you lost. This is what you're lost. You're lost inside, lost with this ego. That's what I see there. And it could have been from past lives, you know, with Pisces in the 12th house. Some kind of test that you're in. Let's see that overall reading again for manifestors. Yeah. Is there anything else for the manifestors? I hope people understand that, like how the ego can pretend that it's your intuition. I'll probably put that article in my blog again, the difference between the ego, the voice of the ego and the voice of the soul. Because the voice of the ego is very judgmental. Our intuition is like a feeling. It's like a feeling that comes up. It's translated through the heart. It's really gentle and soft, and it's the same message over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't change. The spiritual ego, different messages, right? It's like a thief trying to get into the house, right? It tries the back door, can't get in. Tries that way. Tries getting in the basement, can't get in that way. It goes up on the roof. Tries to get down the chimney. Through the window. It's going to try all these different ways to get in, right? Your intuition is just one way. Just one way. It's consistent is what I'm trying to say. The ego is like trying all these different ways to get in. But it's very judgmental. It's all about division and separation. And it's I'm better than spiritual narcissism. I'm better than. I know everything, right? That's what you need to be aware of. Yeah. So I would say just go to your heart. Go to your heart. Okay. That's what I have for the manifestor. It can also work the other way too with the manifestors is because of this 3 of Cups. To not focus on is that you may see this in other people too. You know, the spiritual ego. So if you're being met with that, like somebody's completely in their ego, but they've got the nice spiritual talk, is to go inside. Don't be just listening, hook, line, and sinker to whatever is coming out of someone's mouth. Like take it inside and find your own truth. It could work that way too. Yeah. But it's same with Pisces in the 12th house. It's just like you need to go inside right now, manifestors. And life will do that, right? That with this Wheel of Fortune, it's going to bring you in a situation where you are forced to be alone. So just be aware of that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What do we got? We got the projectors next. So that's 20% of the world are projectors. And I'm a projector, 2, 4, 3 parts right projector. 2-4 emotional projector. Right angle, cross of contagion. So projectors have the focused and absorbing aura. So that's 20% of the world, right? So you can see that. So that focused aura goes straight, you can see it goes straight to the G center of the other. Like let's say a projector and a generator come together. That's where that aura where that's going. It's going right to the G center of the other people. So projectors are here to recognize the other person. So we not only get recognized, because our strategy as a projector is to be recognized for our gifts and talents and then invited. But it also works the other way too, that we recognize other people. We don't invite other people. If it's another projector, we can invite each other, but we can't invite the other types. The other types have to invite us. But they have to recognize us first. So the big 4 invitations for the projector are soul purpose, your vocation, right? Soul purpose, vocation, that's one. A deep friendship is another one. And then a place of living, and then a romantic relationship have to be recognized. And then invite it, and then as a projector, you're here to help guide the other types. So you can feel lost if you've been waiting for an invitation. You can feel lost. Like, do I need to do something, right? This is the shadow projectors of lost. It's like I need to do something in order to change my reality, right? I can only change my reality through doing. And it believes in, that's the belief in separation. That I have to run out, remember, with the limo, I've got to run out of the vehicle, or I've got to jump up here and take the steering wheel, right? Well, I'm not getting any invitations here where I'm living, so I'm living in the wrong place. That's the shadow of lost. Where it's not true. There's already a driver there, right? That's taking you where you need to go. And your aura is drawing into you invitations. So it's about surrendering to that, surrendering to your type. So that's not letting the mind interfere, right? That's the lost. That's the shadow of lost. So when you're operating correctly, you feel successful. There's this beautiful exchange of energy with the projector and the other type. But when you're not, you feel bitter, right? That's the anger. Okay, let's see what we got for the projector today. Okay, so the projector got the card that we all got here, the 4 of Cups. So you may feel like you missed out on an opportunity. Projector. You're expecting that invitation to come, and it never came through. Right. So there you are, waiting again for this lunar eclipse. Let's see what the ego's got to say here. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Projector. And patience, right? The projector's got to learn that. Just like the manifesting generator. And the generators is patience. We all have to learn it. Okay. Okay. There we go for projectors. The first house on Cancer. Okay. So the Four of Cups, and then the effects card for the ego trap, and then the first house in Cancer. Cancer. Okay. So the effects card, if you can see, we're using this analogy, right? You're just the passenger. This is your awareness, your greater awareness. You're just observing life, right? Or you could see it as a movie too, right? So you're in the theater seat projector and you're just watching the movie. That's the screen of your life. Things are coming and going, right? This is living in time when you're fixated on, because everything comes and goes, including our own bodies, right? Everything has an expiry date. Everything comes and goes, but your eternal self is forever. It would never born, never die. So living in time, so the Four of Cups is like things didn't come through. I'm not getting any invitations. I'm feeling bitter, right? I'm feeling bitter about my life, right? And then this is the ego trap card for the projectors, which is keeping you lost. And the shadow of lost is pointing out, the ego is pointing out, look, nothing's going on. There's no invitation out here. There's no opportunities coming to me. And something did come to me and then it didn't come through, right? This is living in time. When we're doing that, when we've got the finger pointed outward, we're living in time, right? Past, present, future. And we don't see the energetic connection between causes, like cause and effect. We don't see it. Yeah. So, what do I want to say about this? Like how to bring these two together. Yeah. So maybe, because this is about accountability too, projectors, because we're not victims. So there's such a thing as karma, right? This is about cause and effect. It's karma. So what we're seeing out in the external is an effect, right? It's an effect. So just for an example, there's you may have bad, like our thoughts, right? Our thoughts have power. Here's an example. Our thoughts have power. So we're having bad thoughts about a person, right? Having a bad, like judgmental thoughts about a person. We're in that bitterness maybe as a projector. And then the next day, that person comes into your field and starts acting and behaving badly towards you. So where we get trapped is like, oh, that's so unfair. I'm a victim. You've got to go back to your thoughts because that's the cause. And then the effect will be that person will reflect that back to you. Do you see? The movie is like a mirror. It's like a mirror. It's a reflection of you. So this is taking accountability for your thoughts, what's going on with your thoughts for this lunar eclipse. And also to take responsibility for even your thinking, right? Even your thinking. It's like, I'm not gonna, because this is what this is coming from. This is the thinker, is the ego, the not self, is I'm not gonna go and feed this, right? The ego may be very judgmental towards another person, is to catch it, like to catch it. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna feed these thoughts, right? And this is what people just generally don't understand, is they're not a victim, right? Each one of us is creating our reality, you know? So this is what this is saying, is that maybe this missed opportunity, or you're feeling ungrateful, or you're feeling pessimistic. It's like to really watch your mind, what your mind is up to, you know? So that you don't create these effects. You want to create good effects. And that's what is your thinking, right? Watch your thoughts, the power of your thoughts. And you want to be doing your own positive thoughts, not listening to this. Right? This is all about keeping you in separation and keeping those invitations from coming to you. Those correct invitations for you. And then Cancer, that's coming from the heart. And it's the first house. So that's your identity, how you're showing up in the world, is to be more compassionate out in the world. And I know how easy it can get, you know? It can spiral, it can snowball when something doesn't go away as a projector, especially if you've been waiting a long, long time for an invitation and something doesn't come through. It just takes one negative thought and then it just snowballs, right? It snowballs. Because we share the same mental body too. That's the other thing, right? It's like, so that one negative thought, that's going to attract all these other thought forms. They're almost like their own entities, like the mental body that we share. And then that attracts all these negative thoughts to it, right? And then it snowballs. So that's what I would say, is like, look out in your world and what are you attracting to you right now? And take responsibility. It's not about blaming. It's about just taking responsibility. How have I been thinking about other people? How has my attitude been these days? You know? Because am I attracting negativity to me? People that are not valuing me, right, as a projector. And the first house in Cancer too is about you mothering yourself, right? Because the Cancer is the mother. So you emotionally nurturing yourself. Yeah. That's what I see as the thinking. It's your thinking you need to watch your thoughts. Don't think that, I'm just having negativity and it's not going to affect my reality. It will. It will affect everything. It will even affect your body, negative thoughts. You can see that. You can see it on a person's face now, like what's going on in their mind. Because this is a printout, right, of our subconscious mind, is our body. Yeah. Okay. And it goes with unity, right? The city of unity. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Anything else for the projectors? That's it. Nothing's coming out. Nothing else is coming out. So just trust that projectors, that wheel of fortune is moving your way. Not to go into this, right? It's about trusting the divine timing in everything, not to listen to that ego. Because that will sabotage you when you indulge in negativity and bitterness. Right? There's a karma, cause effect, and we're all connected. That's what this 2 is showing us, right? With unity, that we're all connected. Isn't that wild? You probably had this experience yourself, where you're thinking about, like in a positive way, you're thinking about a person, and then suddenly they call or they show up, right? They show up in your field. Yeah. Okay. So let's go for the reflectors. I didn't see any reflectors on the chat, but if you're a reflector, please write it down in the comments, and everybody write down their type. Okay. There's the reflectors. So the reflectors, 1% of the world. Okay. And the thing, if it's meant for you, you can't. If it's meant for you, well, it's going to show up, right? With divine timing. That's what the 2 is showing us. You can't escape it. Okay, so the reflectors. Okay, right here. Right, they got the resistant and the sampling auras. So you know you're a reflector when all those centers, all those shapes are white. They're white. Right, so this would be a reflector chart, actually. It's a transit chart. It means there's no definition, so none of these centers are colored in. So this is a powerful moon, right, for the reflectors. The reflectors are ruled by the moon. So they've got to wait a whole moon cycle before they make their decisions. Right? So they're to be delighted and surprised when they're operating correctly. And they're very changeable, right? Because they're so influenced by the moon, the power of the moon. So they work best in groups of people. They're here to show the health or non-health of health in all matters, right? Not just physical health. They're the barometer for the group. As a reflector. So when they're not operating correctly, they're disappointed, right? They get disappointed in people, disappointed in their experiences. Okay, what do we got for the reflectors? We got 3. Let's see what the ego says. So you got the 8 of Cups right there. You got the 10 of Cups. That's the happy. And then you got the 2 of Pentacles. The back and forth. Okay. So it looks like reflectors are in a dilemma. Right? 2 of Pentacles is stress. It's like going back and forth. It's kind of wishy-washy. And again, you've got to ask yourself, have you gone through a whole moon cycle? Right? Because clarity will come after the moon cycle for you. Because you're tasting, right, the energy of the moon. And then you've got the 8 of Cups, which is all about walking away. You can see her. She's got her suitcase. She's walking away. It's disappointment. It's escapism. And then you got the 10 of Cups on the other side, which is all about happy. Whatever your 10 of Cups would be. Right? So it could be a relationship with 10 of Cups. But it's your ultimate happiness, like whatever makes you happy. So you're in this dilemma. Should I leave this situation, this relationship, this job, right? And go towards the 10 of Cups? Do I walk away? Maybe you can't see the Ten of Cups yet. Your dilemma is, should I walk away or not? Do I trust that Ten of Cups, that happiness is going to be there for me, or do I stick with the devil I know, right? The situation that I'm in right now. Okay. Okay, so let's see what the ego is saying to the reflectors. Oh, that makes sense. You got the hide the heartbreak card. So this means that the ego is telling you to pretend that everything's fine. And then you got the Scorpio in the 8th house. So this could be marriage, like marriage, or a partner that you're intimate with. That's the 8th house too. In Scorpio, it's very transformational. It's also an endings house too. So this is what this is saying for the reflectors. They're walking away. They're walking away. And I think the lunar eclipse, this is going to go, right? The Two of Pentacles energy will go with the lunar eclipse. The thing is that the decision's kind of made with a lunar eclipse. Like the truth is so blatant that you can't, when you see the truth, you can't unsee it. That's what this is saying. But it's also saying that there's something else waiting for you that's better, right? That's better for you with the Ten of Cups. So if life is pointing you, reflectors, to walk away from something, then this is what it's saying. It's to walk away. But also not to deny this heartbreak. Because the only reason you would stay in this situation that doesn't make you happy is because you don't want to face this, right? And that's what the ego is saying. So this is keeping you lost. Two of Pentacles, that's the lost. I'm lost. What should I do? What should I do? Right? So this is hiding. So this is what the ego says is, I'm over it. I'm over it. It didn't really matter much to me. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Right? So it's avoiding your own emotions, and this would be avoiding other people that are also emotionally vulnerable. And it's a refusal to feel your broken heart. So you got to watch this, the overall reading reflector. The biggest challenge, the ego challenge here is addiction, right? So this avoid broken heart right down there. Right? So you have to watch alcohol or drugs or escapism here. Yeah. But it's saying to just feel, right? Reflectors, just feel, go deep into the feeling. So feel the broken heart. It's just like, I'm just going to spend some time alone, which is really healthy for a reflector. I'm just going to feel my broken heart. I'm going to feel the anger. If there's anger, I'm going to feel the depression. I'm going to feel the fear, and then I'm going to feel the grief. And that heals the heart, right? And brings it back open. Because it's saying that you're going through, in Scorpio is the South Node, right? The South Node in the first gate. What we're letting go of with the nodal axis right there, the one. And Mercury's there too. So the South Node is what we let go of. That's the one up here, the South. And then Mercury's there, so you're getting lots of information. These two are together with the sun, right? With the sun. And so it's to let go of this 8th house stuff. And it's also with 8th house, it's very psychological, right? It can be like deep, deep traumas that you maybe haven't been able to access before, So to feel that. And then what's coming is this 10 of Cups, what you want, like a real ultimate happiness relationship. But remember, you've got to wait for the whole moon, right? The whole moon cycle before you start jumping into a relationship. Yeah. So again, right, I want to say to everybody is that because the North Node is in Taurus, it's all about valuing yourself, right? And valuing your type. You're not lost if you're not, if, oh, I was born a projector, poor me. I was born a manifestor, poor me. You're the perfect type for you in your soul's destiny. So to value that, value your energy, reflectors, right? 1% of the world. It's not very many of you, right? You have a specific purpose and you are supported, right? You are supported by the divine. But you're going through some kind of death, right? That's Scorpio, going through some huge transformation. And to let go, right? Scorpio wants to cling on to things. It's like to let go. Let go and surrender into this gift, right? There's a self-organizing principle below it, below everything, all of our human experiences, that's organizing and orchestrating everything for us. It's just to trust that and surrender to it. Okay. So that's good. So write down your comments and your types and everything. I really enjoy that. Yeah. There's usually a reflector or two here, but they comment below, and I love to hear all the types actually, but especially the reflectors, you know. Okay. So have a good lunar eclipse. Take some time to integrate. This is very, very powerful energy and to get stabilized, right? This is this time to get stable, and that means to go inside, to be really anchored in your own self, you know, to be fully in this passenger, right? This passenger position. I'm the observer, and trusting that the strategy of your type, and trusting that this driver is taking you where you need to go. It's just about trusting your strategy, you know, surrendering to life and getting stable in that position, because then you can't be pulled around, you know, pulled this way, pulled that way, like you're a puppet, right? With the energy that's out there. It's very manipulative right now, right? We're in a spiritual test. Yeah. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining in live, and I wish you the best, and I'll talk to you next video. Okay. Satnam Aloha everyone.